Hello, everybody. Happy Friday and welcome. Thanks for joining today. Melanie here from Mel's Inky Fingers. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I go live here on my Facebook page every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. So I'm just going to make sure that I'm in the right place and that you can hear me. And it looks like you can. So yay! So welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining. I'm going to give everyone a couple minutes to find me. I'm going to make some cue cards with you today, and I actually have 2 additional cards to show you at the end. So when you jump on, say hello, let me know you're here so I know who has joined me. Again, happy Friday and welcome. Thanks for joining me. This is always one of the highlights of my week, getting to spend a little creative time with you. So we are going to make 2 cards together today, but then I have 2 additional cards to show you. And so many new products out of the September to December 2023 mini catalog. This catalog is now live, so you can order out of it. Look at it, I can show you the inside now. So if you're one of my customers, you should have received your catalogs. I had shipped them out quite some time ago. If you did not get it, please make sure you reach out to me so I can be sure to get one in your hot little hands. And if you live in the United States and don't have a demonstrator, I would love to be your demonstrator. Please let me know so that I can get a catalog to you. Hi, Polly. Welcome and thanks for jumping on. So today our focus is going to be embossing folders, and specifically the embossing folders from our new catalog, plus another little reminder spot that I want to tell you about that's a treasure trove of finding cool stuff. So Polly says hello from warm North Carolina. It's been so warm here too. It's been in the 90s. How warm is it for you? I hope you aren't going to be in the line of the horrible weather coming your way. All right, so I think I'm going to get started while we wait for everyone else to jump on as well. So today's focus is going to be embossing folders, and there are, I think, 5 embossing folders in our new catalog. They're shown here on page 75. There's actually kind of like 6, but one is a 2-pack. So Polly says it's been in the hundreds all week. Ugh, I'm a 75 and sunny girl. So the 100 is just like, ugh, way too warm. I hope it cools off for you soon and you can start enjoying fall, right? Sweatshirt weather is my favorite. So there's 5 embossing folders, and we are going to look at 2 of these today, which is actually 3 embossing folders. Plus, I'm going to share another one with you that I want to point out a special place to find cool new things with Stampin' Up! Then we have this Stars at Night. This is a hybrid embossing folder that coordinates with dies. A couple of weeks ago, I showed you how we have these hybrid embossing folders where you drop your dies inside the embossing folder, run it through your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine with your paper in it, and it die cuts and embosses all at once. They are amazing. And this Stars at Night hybrid embossing folder goes with a whole product suite that I'll be sharing with you at some point in the future. But we're going to look at Cheery Patterns and Snowflake Sky. And actually, this just came yesterday. I have one of these. I can maybe quickly grab it and show you at the end as well. But today, I thought it would be fun to create projects that focus on using an embossing folder as a focal point on your projects. Okay, so we're going to create these 2 really cute cards together today. I wanted to show you some really simple projects as we start heading into the holiday season where everybody's time gets crunched by additional obligations. I want to give you some easy ideas where you can continue to enjoy crafting, because if you're like me, I need that time to keep myself grounded. I need this creative time away from all the crazy of life when nothing is under control and everything is busy, to just kind of settle my mind and settle my soul. So to create the projects today, I'm going to be using 2 new products out of the holiday catalog. I'm just going to always be referring to this September to December mini catalog as the holiday catalog, all right? So these are 2 new items. So the Throughout the Year stamp set is a really awesome sentiment set. I love the fonts. Hey, hi Julie, hi Joan, hi Terry. Oh, thanks everyone for joining me. And then there's this really cool punch. Now, I ordered this punch. It's part of a bundle. It's actually part of a suite called Garden Walk. And I ordered everything except the stamp set, which I'm regretting now, of course, right? But this punch is super, super cool. So here's where it's shown as part of the suite. This is the Garden Walk suite, and you can see this nice big punch here. I thought it was going to be a little bit too big. But boy, was I mistaken, and I love the way it looks. So I have used this punch and this sentiment set on the cards today. Now remember, we will make these 2 together, and then I have 2 more to show you. Yes, Terry, I bet you're loving it, right? All right. So the first project we're going to make is just really simple, and it focuses on this new embossing folder called Snowflake Sky. It's a small scale snowflake pattern that I love, and hopefully the camera is picking up the detail for you. I love these super cute little tiny snowflakes mixed in with some stars and some dots. Okay, the rest of the card is kept really simple, so that you can really focus on the pattern. Now this is a 3D embossing folder. Now let's talk terminology. So Stampin' Up! Has embossing folders, and then they have 3D embossing folders. And the difference between the 2 is how deep the impression is. The regular embossing folders create a really nice impression, but these 3D embossing folders create a deeper impression in the embossed texture added to your project. Now they both wind up looking great. So I say choose whichever patterns that you enjoy and work them into your projects. But if you want something that's really deep, or if you're wanting a lot of texture to do other techniques on your paper, the 3D ones are really great for that. And I have a piece of paper sitting here too that I can grab. And I'm going to show you guys this one at the end, so that'll be fun. That's another new one. So to create this first project, let's look at what we need. I did it in white. Sometimes I just love the simplicity of an all white card with little pops of extras on it, and that's exactly what I did here. So for this card, you will want a 4 1/4 by 11 inch thick basic white cardstock base, and I've scored that at 5 1/2, so it's just a standard card base. And then you're going to want a second piece of basic white cut 4 inches by 5 1/4. So 4 inches by 5 1/4, and then you're going to run that through whatever embossing folder you have that you want to use on your project. Hi Tracy, welcome. So this again is the Snowflake Sky 3D embossing folder out of the holiday catalog, and see how cute all that texture is. So this is just going to simply go on the front of the project as your focal point. It's the whole front layer. Then anything you do from here on out is like bonus accenting your project. All right. So I am going to, and you could mix this up. Like you could do blue would be pretty, gray would be pretty. You could use whatever color cardstock you want, and you could change your card base and front layer color if you want it, so you had some contrast, or you could make it monochromatic and do the same. So here is the card base, very simple. So now I have brought in my Throughout the Year stamp set and this modern oval punch, and I'm going to stamp my sentiment in Night of Navy ink. And I really like this Happy Holidays. I like the font. It's a vertical sentiment, so I'm going to do my usual trick where I'm going to take a horizontal sentiment and make it more vertical. So I'm going to pull in just a scrap piece of the basic white cardstock, and I'm going to stamp my sentiment. And sorry, I'm a little squished here. So I am super happy. Actually, I want to do my holiday first. So when the catalog went live, I was able to order all the products for my paper shares and my paper samplers, and you guys knocked it out of the park. I have a massive job in front of me, and I was very fortunate. You have finally defeated, because I clearly knew I was outnumbered. I was never going to be able to. So I started. I had the first few boxes come yesterday, and so we've been very busily getting going on all of those. And so all my tables right now are used. So I have all these things all around this little workspace. So I'm feeling more crowded than I normally am, but it's for really great reasons. All right. And in my efforts I am getting this close to earning the Stampin' Up! Incentive trip, which I am super excited about. It takes a ton of work, and I'm very close, so I'm hoping I'll be able to do that. So stay tuned here, because I'm going to be having some other things going on where you can benefit and save some money. So that's always fun. All right. So now we have our sentiment punched with this really cute oval punch. And now I'm going to bring in some fun sentiments to dress up this project. So I'm going to use this new white ribbon. It's called Iridescent ribbon. It's really, really pretty. Oh, thanks, Tracy. Really, really pretty. See how it just reflects the light and it picks up the color? It's so, so pretty. And I'm just going to keep this really simple by adding just a little detail like this behind my project. So I'm going to cut this to the length that I want it. And let's see, I'll measure it for you in a bit so that if you're making little notes to recreate this, you know how much to cut. So I'm going to trim this about here. And so I have chosen to cut this to about 7¼ inches. So about 7¼ inches. And then I'm going to add this to my card front, and you could center this. You could put it up like this. That's really cute. I kind of put mine off to the side a little bit like that. But I'm going to put some adhesive here on my card front, and then kind of, whoops, kind of lay that ribbon right down here and glue it down in place. If you have a little tiny stapler, my stapler is off somewhere. It's somewhere here being used. Normally I would take this and fold it how I wanted it, and then I would put a couple of little mini staples there. It just kind of holds it in place for you. So once I have that in the position that I want it, and I think I'm going to move it over just a little tiny bit, you can reposition this. Put it in just a little bit off the side. So it's in, and then I will add this really awesome punched piece to my card front with some dimensionals. So I prefer to have my dimensionals stuck right from my raised piece to the layer underneath and not on the ribbon, because I don't like when it wiggles. So I put my dimensionals spaced apart so that hopefully it connects with the layer underneath and not to the ribbon that is the layer in between, if that makes sense. So see how it doesn't wiggle now. All right, so really simple. Now, all that's left is to dress this up with some embellishments. So I have pulled in 2 different embellishments that I'm going to layer. I have our rhinestone basic jewels, and then I have these beauties right here. So these are called the Adhesive Back Snowflake Assortment. This is part of our online exclusive release that's on the Stampin' Up! Website. You will not see these in any catalog or a publication. You will find these in the Stampin' Up! Store. There's so many cool things there. And we add new things all the time. So I am going to just kind of scatter snowflakes anywhere on the front of this. There's no right or wrong. These come in 3 different sizes, and I'm going to use all 3 sizes. So I'm going to kind of add a couple up here. Let's see here. You can see 2 of the sizes here, and there's 3 colors. There's copper, gold, and white. So that's really fun. I'll put one down here. Maybe I'll put one there. I kind of like that. And then let's put a couple down below as well. I want a big one. And then a little one. There we go. And then you could leave those just like that, but I wanted to give them a little more pop so they didn't get lost in the background. So the way I decided to do that was by simply adding a little gem in the center of all the snowflakes. So you can see I need to order more of these. I go through a lot of these. I'm just going to take one of the, I only have 1 size left. If I had more sizes, I would mix up the sizes because I like variety and not sameness as I'm putting my projects together. But there's your project. So super simple. Isn't that cute? So here are the 2 projects. Oh, thanks for the hearts. Thank you. Just really simple. And as you're coming into the holiday season where you'll need to make a lot of projects, this one is really, really easy to do. And if you were making your own Christmas cards and had a ton of different cards to do, but you didn't want to fuss, this is a really nice layout with this punch and with your embossing folders, and it really lets the embellishment shine as well. Now, if you did want to dress it up a little bit, you could do something like this. I have my Wink of Stella here. And you know what I'm going to do, right? Now, this is a brand new Wink of Stella, so hopefully, last time I did this with you on a Friday, I squeezed it and got a blob. Like, it was huge on my card. So let's see if I can just, I need to get more paint down there. Here it comes. Come on. I'm so afraid to get a big blob. Okay, let's just do this. Just a little splatter. You could add just a little shimmer to the card if you wanted to dress it up just a little bit. So there. Very fun. All right, so that's project number 1. So now for our second project, I wanted to show you a little versatility with one of the really cool new papers. So I'm going to bring in another product here, and this is called a Walk in the Forest Designer Series paper. I love the colors in this. I love the variety of animal prints as well as these really great B-sides. So you have trees, there's snowflakes, there's polka dots, the pine boughs, and then the stripes. And what's even more special about this, oh yes, so Terry says she makes the mistake of always picking complicated Christmas cards. Yes, and if they're too complicated and we don't get them done, then we don't get them sent, right? And then we get discouraged. So sometimes simple is better. You can always go back and keep adding things to them to really dress them up if you have extra time. But I love simplicity sometimes, especially when you have these great embellishments and this beautiful ribbon. It really lets those shine through with your embossing folder. All right, so what's wonderful about this A Walk in the Forest paper is this is a give back product from Stampin' Up. So with each catalog, Stampin' Up has a product that they donate a part of the sales back to charity. And so it's usually right in the beginning. So I wanted to show you where this is. They call it the Making a Difference. It's on page 5. It shows you the papers. And it tells you right here, they're going to donate $3 back from every pack to an organization. And every market of Stampin' Up can choose where they donate their money. And Stampin' Up has decided that in the U.S., they're going to donate their charity money back to Toys for Tots this year, which is always really great at Christmas time. So if you'd get nothing else out of that catalog, please consider at least getting 1 pack of this, if not more, and enjoy the paper and help Stampin' Up give back to the community. But I wanted to show you that this isn't just for Christmas. So here's our second project. Really easy and super cute. It shows you the versatility of this paper, that it's not just for Christmas or winter or holiday. This is a birthday card, and it doesn't look Christmassy at all to me. In fact, it kind of has a masculine flair, which I really like. So yay, Tracy got a pack. I ordered just a few packs as well. So let's get creating. So I'm going to continue to use the Throughout the Year stamp set and the same modern oval punch. And for the card base, I chose Old Olive. And again, I cut this the same. I cut this 4 1/4 by 11 inches, and it's scored at 5 1/2. I do too. And I love the color combination. So let me tell you the colors. So the colors in this paper are Balmy Blue, Cherry Cobbler, Garden Green, Old Olive, Pecan Pie, and Pretty Peacock. And I actually was originally pairing this with Lost Lagoon. It went nice with Lost Lagoon, and Lost Lagoon isn't even listed on here, but I've used the Lost Lagoon ribbon, and look how pretty it looks with it. So sometimes you can even pull in other colors that aren't listed as technically one of the colors because of the color variations of the Stampin' Up! Color used in the project. When this Pretty Peacock gets light, it kind of looks like Lost Lagoon, and it coordinates really nicely. So these are my paper samplers that I make that have all the papers in it, and I put the colors on the back. And this is what I love the most, is being able to see which colors without trying to match. Yes, it's really good for non-Christmas cards. All right, so we have our Old Olive card base. Then we have our Designer Series paper layer cut, and this is also cut 4 inches by 5 1/4. And that's just going to adhere to the front. Then I'm going to bring in our embossing folder. So since today we're talking about creating focal points with embossing folders on our card projects, I thought this Cherry Patterns embossing folder was super cute. It comes as a 2-pack. These are compatible with our mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So if you have this little guy, or if you don't have one yet, but you're thinking of getting one, this is the mini. Okay, it comes in 2 colors, boho blue or our traditional off-white. These mini cut and emboss folders are designed to fit through the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Okay, so they're really fun. The full-size ones won't fit, but these fit in either of the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machines. So this one has this really cool wave and this fun circle. So these are called the Cherry Patterns. We're going to use the cool circles on this particular project. So I have taken a layer of vellum and I have pre-embossed it so that you don't have to wait for me to crank that through. And I have cut this, I think it's like 3, let me look, yep, 3 inches wide by 5 1/4 or 5 1/2 long, so that it's the full height of our card. So it kind of overlaps the Designer Series paper layer and breaks, I need to just adhere it in place, kind of breaks up these straight edges. And I love it that it lets the stripes pop through, and I like the circles laying over the stripes. Hi, Nicole, welcome. I'm glad you could hop on. Then let me adhere these layers together. I'm going to layer this up with, look how fun that is. Look at how cute that looks with the old olive. If you wanted to make this a Christmas card, all you would have to do literally is flip this over, add your layer, and do the same thing. Add your sentiment. You could create the same card just by changing the direction of your card. So instead of it being a top fold like this, you can just make it a side fold. And I'm going to take these off and adhere this down. You could also cut the stripes to be in a vertical orientation if you like that. Then I'm going to adhere this to the top, and it's 5.5 inches long, so it's going to overlap the edges of our Designer Series paper. Now, when you're adhering vellum to your project, just remember that you're going to see your adhesive through, and so you'll want to be a little strategic. You can place your adhesive where you're going to have another layer on top of it. Some of the adhesives don't show through. So like I am using Stamp and Seal, and you can see it really doesn't show through that much, but I'm going to cover that with our sentiment anyway. So let's create our sentiment. So let's bring in our Throughout the Year stamp set and our Modern Oval Punch. I have a scrap of basic white cardstock, and I'm going to stamp my sentiment in Pretty Peacock. I like the dark contrast of our sentiment up against the lighter background, and we're making this a birthday card. So happiest of birthdays. I'm just going to simply stamp that. Now you could fancy this up a bit if you wanted to do multiple colors in our sentiment. I'm keeping it simple. And I'm going to just center this right inside my punch. And I'm going to, oh, I goofed. I wanted to, before I adhere that down, I wanted to put my ribbon on. But it's okay because it comes off really easy. So for embellishments, I'm going to use some of this really pretty Lost Lagoon ribbon. It has a really nice woven texture to it, and then a little bit of white twine. And then I'm going to bring in some of the flat adhesive backed pearls. These are so pretty. So let's just peel this layer off if I can get it off. Usually vellum will come off. Woo! Yay! Crisis averted. And I'm just going to put a piece of my ribbon around like this and cut it to length. And then I'm going to tie this, but I have this adhesive on the back, and my silicone mat would be perfect to put down because I wouldn't get this stuck, but I have it. It's being used. Hi, Melissa. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere this back down in place so that I don't get it stuck where I don't want it stuck. We've all been there, right? We've all been there. All right, so I'll just stick that down. All right, so now I'm going to put a bow around the ends of my ribbon. So I'm just going to slide a piece of twine underneath these two ends and tie my bow. And you could use linen thread, you could use a different colored twine. This is just white. And I will show you, if you don't get your ribbon nice and tight, it's okay. I will show you how you can fix it. So I'm just going to take my two ends. See how I have some slack here? I'm going to take my two ends and just pull them apart like that, and it tightens that up really nice. See how it just tightened that up? And then you can trim your bow if you want to trim the twine. Actually, that kind of looks nice just like that. So crisis averted, right? There's always a way to fix it. So now I will take some dimensionals and place this right over my ribbon. and center this on my card. Isn't that cute? It's just easy and cute. I used up my white twine. Do you find it so satisfying when you finish something? A couple of weeks ago, I emptied a re-inker, and I felt so accomplished that I still have it sitting on my table. And I just look at it and just feel accomplished. Am I the only one that feels that way? Isn't that silly? It's just silly. So I'm going to take some of these and I'm going to tuck them around on my project. There's a couple different sizes. And these are really pretty. And I love that there's so many shapes on this. So let me kind of move this up a little bit. There we go. So I don't like straight lines. It is time to get more. Don't worry, I already did. I'm not really out. When I let myself run out of anything, you know me. All right. So here is our second project. Isn't that cute? And they're so quick, you guys. Look at it. So we have made 4 projects in a half hour. Look at that. Yes, Terry, it does. It makes you feel so accomplished when you empty something. So here are our projects. Aren't they cute? And we have the embossing folders as our focal point to really let those pretty patterns shine in our projects. I love them. All right, but I have more. So I created 2 other projects to show you. And again, they are focusing on the embossing folders. So let's set these here so you can continue to see them. They are simple. Thanks, Polly. Oh, Terry likes them. Nicole likes them. Polly, good, thanks. I'm glad you guys like these. All right, here is, again, very similar, but added a couple more layers to dress it up. And look at the embossing folder. So once again, I used the Walk in the Forest Designer Series paper on this project. I used the Modern Oval Punch, but I brought in a couple different products actually. So I brought in the deckled rectangle dies and die cut this contrasting layer in Pretty Peacock to layer behind the Designer Series paper. But before I adhered this Designer Series paper down, I ran it through the other embossing folder that's part of this Cherry Patterns. Now, it might be a little hard to see the pattern in the paper, but I think it looks like the wind is blowing. It's a blustery, windy day. And here is what that pattern looks like. You could put it this way. How fun would this be on a birthday card? It kind of looks like little balloon strings. Isn't that cute? Hopefully you can see the pattern on that. I really like that. But I used the iridescent ribbon from the first card. I used these pretty pearls from the second card and the same punch. So there's another idea for you. Now my next card is for you, Terry. I fancied it up a bit. And I added a couple more layers, and it's a fall card. And again, we've let that embossing folder really shine by being the focal point in the center of the card. But this embossing folder is from the online exclusives. So this embossing folder is called Leaf Fall. It's a 3D embossing folder, so you get a nice deep impression. It's really, really pretty. Isn't that beautiful? It's kind of leaves cascading across. And what I did is I created the focal point as one of my layers. So let's talk about what I used on this card. So I actually used the Oh Holy Night Designer Series paper to create this card. Okay, I'm going to move these out of the way because I have several things here. So this paper is gorgeous. Thank you, Polly. I'm glad you like that. This paper is gorgeous. It's part of a whole product suite. Again, the same suite that includes that embossing folder I referred to at the beginning. So let me show you. And it's really pretty. It's called Oh Holy Night Suite, and it has 2 stamp and die bundles. It's kind of a mega suite. Look how beautiful. So you can make religious theme cards out of this or not. I'm creating for an event right now, and I'm using this, and I'm not making any religious themed projects with it. It's gorgeous. But here's your embossing folder that coordinates with the dies. This is called hybrid. So when you emboss with this, it also die cuts. And I am using this paper. So there's a lot of blues on one side, but the back sides have really amazing patterns. Look how beautiful. This is the one on the card. Aren't they pretty? So it brings in some of the browns. Look at the beautiful texture in there. You've got that subtle black pattern. I don't know if it's picking up, but there's a subtle black pattern within the deep color variations, and then some blues. This would be great for Halloween. So this is the Oh Holy Night paper. So it's really pretty. Then I created a layer using one of my favorites, the scallop contour dies, and then added this embossed layer on top to really give that focal point in the center. And then for the embellishments, I used this in color jute trim out of the annual catalog in copper clay, which coordinates with the cardstock. And then I embellished it with these lovely metallic sequins. They're called Neutrals Adhesive Back Sequins. Aren't they pretty? And here is the project. I splattered a little copper clay Stampin' Blends on there. And the sentiment is from the same stamp set, the Throughout the Year. The only thing I didn't do was I did not use the oval punch on this one because I didn't want to cover up too many of the leaves since it wasn't a full layer of the embossing. So what do you think? So 4 different projects today. Do you have a favorite? Tell me which one is your favorite. Do you have a favorite? Here. Happy holidays, happy birthday, the windy happy holidays, or the thank you. Can you see them all? The embossing folder on this card, Nicole, this one is called Leaf Fall 3D, and it's part of the online exclusive, so you can only find it online. It's not in any of the catalogs. You're welcome, Melissa. So which one is your favorite? Oh, Polly likes this one. The thank you card. It is pretty. I did dress it up a bit though, so you can see the difference, right? So I added, Nicole likes that one. It's a really pretty one. So you can see I have a couple more layers. So if you want to dress it up a bit, you can, or you can keep it simple and it's still just as cute. So Terry likes the stripy one. Julie likes the thank you as well. Yeah, isn't it pretty? Although I love fall crafting. Fall crafting is really fun. Well, good, I'm glad you like this. I hope it makes you look at your embossing folders in a little different way as how you can make them be the focal point of your project instead of maybe a stamped image or a die cut image. Our embossing folders can carry the load for us as well. So great. Well, thanks everyone for joining me. I appreciate you taking time to jump on. Fridays are always so fun. I'm glad you liked the projects. Oh, I'm glad you caught me today too, Terry. I know there's a big time difference between us, so it's sometimes hard to envision what others are doing at at our lunchtime. So great. Well, I hope you all have a great weekend. It is hockey season here. A lot of you probably know my youngest son plays hockey, and they kick off their season with their first game tomorrow. So we are off and running. We still have tennis season going, and lacrosse, fall lacrosse is in full bloom as well. So we're back into the school routine. School starts and it's like, boom, it's all starting. So thanks everyone for joining. I hope you have a great week. I hope you create with your embossing folders, and I will look forward to seeing you all next Friday. Have a great week. Bye.